Welcome to another episode of Inside the Valley. Sorry we missed you last week. Papa Bear over there, Dustin Black, had his second kid. Welcome back, Dustin Black. How are you?
I'm good, man. A little sleep deprived, but we're gonna push through this thing today. And kudos to you for covering the episode last week, man.
Yeah, it was, we did a highlight of our film review of Leo Delaney. Go check that one out. If you haven't been watching our film review series, we're doing all the high school recruits, and then we're going to jump into the transfer portal recruits, transfer portal commits. Excuse me. That's a little foreshadowing. After that, so I'm excited to get into there. There's one less guy we have to do.
That's one way to look at it.
That's one. You know what? I didn't really like him anyway. Even though I came up with the NIL deal, I didn't really like him anyway. Right? This merch, Camo and Espresso is never, it is Espresso. You Italians. I'm not going to call it by its right name. We're not going to jump into that first. The first thing I want to tell you is that Dustin and I are true warriors, okay? We are content colonels. So Dustin is out here sleep deprived, like he said, just had a second kid, obviously not sleeping with a 2-year-old and a 2-day-old essentially. But he's not even the one that's worse off on this podcast. You're looking at a guy who just ate probably 69 ounces of steak before he got onto this episode. I have the meat sweats. My mouth is watering. My stomach feels like a rock. I guess I forgot that I'm no longer playing offensive line. So just for a future, if anybody is doing a podcast, whatever, if you have Colombian friends who invite you over for pequeña, which is top cap sirloin steak, don't do it, because when you say you're good, they're going to put more on your plate. And we say, okay, that's enough. They're going to say, no, you need more. And then you're going to think you're done, and they're going to give you plantains. Then they're going to give you roast potatoes, and then they're going to turn around and give you homemade pudding. So y'all think Dustin's bad off? I'm battling right now. So buckle in for a fun episode. But Dustin, you know what we have to talk about first. I'm sure the entire time you were watching the play-by-play Dabo's press conference with your wife while she was literally laboring. Was that what you were doing?
Not quite. Luckily I had some time set aside where I could watch that press conference on Friday, and man, what a good one it was. That's one of the ones that we'll remember from Dabo. Like there's always the ones that you look back on and you can kind of recall in years past. People pushing their own narratives out there, that one, or people trying to create like divide in the team by saying this guy hasn't caught as many passes as another guy. There's all those classic Dabo press conferences, the Clemsoning one, of course, the all-time favorite.
BYOG, the real Carolina.
Like there's just going to be all those press conferences that you remember. And I think that one's going to be one that you definitely remember. And you know what? I don't think Dabo's ever won the court of public opinion like he did on Friday.
Oh my! There's one fan base that does not like Dabo. One, and they are located in Oxford, Mississippi. That is insane. The people who have just dumped on Dabo, hating him, calling him arrogant, calling him narcissistic, calling him all these awful things, were coming to his defense because he was right. And you talk about this being one of the most memorable press conferences. It's not going to be one of those ones you quote it and put it on a T-shirt. This might be the most impactful press conference he's ever had, because I think we're going to see changes come. Now, what kind of changes? I don't know. The NCAA announced today that they are actively investigating this issue. They have all the evidence the alleged evidence, excuse me. This is an active case that has been handed off to them. And it doesn't sound good. But the thing you hear the most is that Dabo is the only one who can say something like this because he's the only one that's not participating. And it really makes you feel like all the trash we've given him as a fan base. I'm not going to say we because I don't partake. I do have Dabo rose-colored glasses, so you'll never see me bashing him. But there are a lot of Clemson fans who will and do, and I don't fault them. I mean, it's a passionate sport. You got to get passionate, right? I'm so thankful that we get to stand on this side of the aisle when all this stuff comes down, like it's about to. That we get to at least stand over here and say, we're not throwing stones through a glass house, buddy. We're throwing stones at the glass house. And it's about to all come tumbling down. And when the only combat you can have as the alleged perpetrator in this situation is, well, everyone's doing it. it ain't gonna be good. It ain't gonna be good. So, I mean, that's what do you call this?
I don't know. I've given up on the NCAA having any sort of teeth when it comes to stuff like this. So I don't really think anything's really going to happen to Ole Miss, to be honest with you, Will. I think they're going to investigate it. I think they may find that they did tamper with Luke Ferrelli. I think it'll be a slap on the wrist, and everyone's going to move on.
Yeah, and yeah, the pessimist in me agrees with you. I just have to think something changes. Something. Maybe you know what they're going to change? They're going to change the targeting consequence because they did just announce that they are actively reviewing the consequences for targeting. It only took you 5 years, but hey, at least you're doing actually longer than that, 10 years.
Yeah.
So at least you're finally doing that, right? So the number that keeps getting thrown around is 2030. I think by 2030, the NCAA is no more. I mean, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I think the Big Ten, the SEC, and some of the big time brands will make their own super conference. I mean, that's the direction we're going. I think players are going to be employed at some point. I mean, the evidence that's been brought forward, getting pictures of $1 million contract while you're actively in class, and the part that makes me know that Pete Golding knows that what he's doing is wrong is when he has other players call him and then him participate in the call. Mm-hmm. So that way you can't track that he's the one having the conversation. That's the most damning evidence to me. Pete Golding knows he's not supposed to be contacting him, so he gets Trinidad Chambliss to call him and then participates in the call on the FaceTime video. I don't get it. Oh, and by no means is Luke Ferrelli is becoming the face of this. I hate that for him. It really sucks. They offered him $2 million just days after he said that was a disorganized mess. They offered him $2 million, and it wasn't that disorganized for him to turn that down, right? I can't blame him. As a 20-year-old kid, I don't blame him. I blame the adult. I blame his agent for actively lying. I blame Pete Golding for taking advantage of the situation. And Dustin, to me, there's so many linebackers in the portal. There's so many linebackers out there. Why was Luke Ferrelli the one that they were all hot and heavy over?
Because he's a good football player.
That's true. But like to the point where okay, he's not off limits. Let's go back after. I don't understand how that their mind worked that way. And maybe that's me just not being as tuned in as the portal as I was this year. But that was mind-boggling to me. I mean, you had Hollywood Smothers. That situation was insane. You had Luke Ferrelli, who's become the biggest name. He's the face of it. So sorry to him and his family. But
Darian Mensah as well. It's just weird, man. It's weird times. But Dabo, I mean, that was one of my favorite things he said in the press conference. It is the adults in the room. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, don't go blaming the kids for making these decisions to go to these schools where they're getting laid out all this money in front of them. Like, you know, I've never been in that situation. I can't say what I would do, but like $2 million, who's turning that down?
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody listening to this podcast.
Right.
So it's a sad situation. It sucks. I was excited for Luke Ferrelli, if I'm being honest. He's a phenomenal football player. I think he's going to have a hell of a career. I think he's going to be fine. I think this is going to go down as one of the most memorable transfer portal transactions in the history because of what happened after it too, and then just the absurdity of the story. I mean, him showing up to his driveway as he's trying to leave when they can't get a hold of him. When someone tells you they're not ready to make a decision, they seem to clear their head. They already have made their decision. They just don't want to hurt your feelings.
They don't know how to tell you yet.
Yeah, Jordan Sorrells and Tom Allen, when they're standing out there giving their last little pitch, and he's like, I think I might coach, but I just need to clear my head. His head is going to clear on the highway to Oxford, Mississippi. And when he sees that $2 million, his head's going to be very clear. Does anybody follow suit?
No.
You think anybody follows suit in what Dabo said? I mean, because at the very end, he very explicitly said, I don't want to hear any more complaining if you don't come out, and I strongly encourage you to. I know he's calling out coaches specifically. When he's saying that, I'm not going to share who. I know he's calling out coaches specifically, but he's also speaking to the college football world in general because all the past few years, people tampering. Yeah. And what have we all said? Where's the evidence? That ain't real unless you say any of the evidence. Well, nobody would. So
yeah, well, one of the coaches that did it a few years ago and didn't get as much publicity as Dabo did was Pat Narduzzi when he talked about Jordan Addison going to USC. You know, because he's like, look, I identify a kid, I develop him, he obviously becomes a really good player, and then now I got people, you know, calling my players on my roster and offering things. I mean, he's already come out and said it. So I know Narduzzi is one of the ones that probably had a conversation with Dabo.
Yeah, and I hope I hope that helps. I hope he provides some more evidence to the issue, because it's not a Luke Ferrelli issue. It's not an Ole Miss issue. Obviously, Clemson fans are most targeted towards that right now. They hit us where it hurts, but this is a college football issue. So yeah, I hope Pat Narduzzi steps up. I hope Matt Diaz from Duke steps up. I hope because that situation with Miami is just absolutely insane. They said they made the settlement today, and he is going to be a Miami football player.
Yeah, and I don't know that it really changes all that much, but it is like borderline malpractice that Luke Ferrelli wasn't signed to anything monetary at Clemson being on.
Yeah, and you know what? Clemson should look themselves in the mirror and figure out.
You know what I mean?
Like that process.
I get that he signed the scholarship and it like removes his name from the portal and all that. That's fine. I'm sure that there was a agreed upon number that they were going to sign at some point, but like you got to get these kids signed. I mean, Ole Miss probably pays the buyout regardless, right? Like it doesn't matter what the buyout was, it was probably going to get paid regardless, and he was going to leave regardless. But at least you can do something with that money, or there's something that you could bring to the courts more than just he signed a scholarship offer, right? Because he was still allowed to re-enter the portal. I mean, technically they did it in the portal window, which sucks, but I just think you got to get these kids signed as soon as possible.
Dustin, to play devil's advocate to that though, this isn't The Sims. You can't just type in Rosebud and print out money. It's like when you have, at least Clemson can't, but when you have a program like LSU, like Ole Miss, like Texas A&M, like Texas, like SMU, believe it or not, Miami, who can literally just print money, you don't have to have negotiations. You just throw out an abnormally large number. There's the agreed upon deal. Where Dabo was talking about, these deals take time because we want to get them right. Right for both parties. You want to take care of the player, but you also want to make sure you have room for everybody else. And when your goal is focusing on retaining players, it's going to be it's tough to make deals with guys in the transfer portal. I can't fault that.
Yeah.
I mean, you recruit these guys, you want them to grow. We thought last year was going to be that year. That was going to be the proof of Dabo's pudding. And the FU to college football did not get to come because we went 7-6, right? So it is what it is. I'm not going to continue crying over it. I do like that we flipped Andy Burburija. I have to think that has a lot to do with Luke Ferrelli leaving and cap space opening up, which is mind-boggling that we're talking about cap space in college football. But the portal giveth, the portal taketh away. Dustin, the portal tooketh away Luke Ferrelli, but gaveth Andy Burburija, which he's technically he's technically considered a 2026 recruit because he's JUCO, but it was listed in the transfer portal. Whatever, he's got a lot of upside. You just don't know what he's got yet, and so I'm very curious to see what he does. He's a defensive lineman, so now you added the depth. I like the room we have now. The defensive line is very solid. We talked about 2 weeks ago, we wanted at least one more guy in the defensive line room. We got him. We just happened to lose a guy from the linebacker corps, so we might have to go do our trades all over again. We traded D. Creighton and got a Dabo press conference.
Right.
I still think we won.
I would say the defensive line, with all the portal additions taken into consideration, I think the defensive line room is the strength of the defense next year.
Oh, I don't want to say that. I'm never saying that again in the offseason.
I know. I'm just saying, but you look at what's on paper. I think that it is the strength of that defense.
Nick Eason, Chris Rump, you have no more excuses.
Right.
You don't, because now it's not just top end talent. You have depth at both positions. Maybe not quite as much proven depth at defensive end, but the interior of the defensive line has depth. Marcus Strong, I'm super excited to see him play. The more I read about him, the more excited I am about him. And let's talk about some more. We almost skipped one. Jaylen Brown, and not the Celtics Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown-Wallace from Wingate. I'm not going to say what high school he went to, because then the Clemson fans will roll their proverbial eyes, or they'll realize. But Jaylen Brown-Wallace, a receiver, has transferred to us from Wingate. I don't think Dabo kind of came out and said it. Sometimes you pick up first-round guys. Sometimes you pick up undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
I think what Dabo's also saying is, I don't think we're getting Tristan Smith back.
Right. So, I think you're kind of spot on with that. I think that they don't anticipate him being part of the 2026 roster. Even picking up the Cam Blivens kid. A true 2026 recruit who is a high school kid. They added some more depth to the wide receiver room there as well.
And I'll put my hand up. I'm excited about Cam Blivens.
Me too. I think great athlete.
He's a great athlete. He's one of those guys you bring in there. If he doesn't pan out, oh well. The upside he could have. I mean, you look at the fact of how good of a basketball player he is. You have to think he's explosive, fast, quick on his feet, and those things apply very well to playing wide receiver. So upside's high. You think about one of our best receivers of all time was a basketball player, DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm not saying that Cam Blivens is DeAndre Hopkins. Do not say what I'm not saying, right? Do not hear what I'm not saying. But I think Cam Blivens has a hell of a lot of upside. I haven't watched an extensive amount of film on him, but the film I did watch, he's got up, and he played multiple positions. I like that. He played receiver. He played he played quarterback. I think he played some defense.
Yeah, I like him better as a safety prospect than a wide receiver prospect personally.
Yeah.
I could see him playing safety. It's hard for me to see him breaking into this wide receiver room, but I could see him playing safety.
You talked about a couple weeks ago that I think it was Contavious, and I keep sucking my teeth. Sorry, guys. That Polo Anderson reminded you of TJ Green. Mm-hmm. I think Cam Blivens reminds me more of TJ Green than Polo Anderson does. And let me and even their stories line up. TJ comes in as a receiver, shifts to safety, has a hell of a career at safety, even in the NFL. Cam Blivens is probably coming in more of a. Actually, they listed him as an athlete, so they don't really know yet. Maybe he's the depth piece at safety.
Yeah, the graphic said wide receiver, but
it did. Okay,
what's the worth of that? But no, it was Jerome Carter, the safety from ODU, is the one that I said.
Oh yeah, you're right.
TJ Green, yeah,
you're right, and he does remind me of TJ Green as well. But Cam Blivens also reminds me of TJ Green. We just got a lot of TJ Greens out there.
Just let's field 11 of them, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, a fun fact: I played TJ Green in intramural basketball, and he plays very, very strong defense. He's a very, very good defender. I got very aggravated with him guarding me, believe it or not. So I'll leave it at that. Some more additions outside of the roster, coaching staff additions. Freddie Kichens. Freddie Kichens is hired as an offensive analyst. He is unpaid. UNC will be paying for him. Just like UNC is paying for Lonnie Galloway. So we have a few coaches on staff that are being paid by other universities, and they are okay with that. And I'm okay with that. It opens up money to go elsewhere, right? Does that move the needle for you?
No, I don't really think it matters all that much. I mean, it's just one of those things. A lot of those guys, what they do is just scout. Like they'll stay a week ahead on opponents. So like maybe you have, Georgia Tech this week, but like the staff, like Freddie Kichens and like maybe his guys that work for him are already a week ahead and they're already on NC State or whatever. And just so they can get extra prepped in. That's kind of what those guys tend to do. Chad Morris actually did it a couple of years ago. So in 2024, I think he was the offense analyst. He did the same thing. He just scouted opponents a week ahead of the staff just to get extra prep in.
Yeah, and I do have some stuff to say about Chad Morris here in a second. My favorite part of the press conference. But I think the Freddie Kichens thing does move the needle for me. Okay. And let me tell you why. So he's got a network. He's been an NFL coach. I believe he was a head coach for the Browns. He's also been offensive coordinator in the NFL, offensive coordinator in college football. His network is wide. So I think you now open up the Rolodex on who you can contact to get information from in terms of scouting, right? And then I think it's also going to be helpful in terms of the perspective he'll provide for some of our younger coaches trying to learn. So if Freddie Kichens, he's going to be actively trying to get a job. Let's call a spade. Freddie Kichens is coming to Clemson, obviously to help us, but to get himself a job. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna see other coaches step onto the campus at Clemson that we might not know about, talking to Freddie Kichens, getting in his ear, hearing about this and that. I think it's going to be really, really helpful in terms of growing the network at Clemson, growing more connections. And obviously when he goes to the NFL, that's going to be helpful too, because I do believe that's where he'll go next. So I think it moves the needle a little bit for me in terms of who we can contact, who we can get more information from. And then obviously it's just nice to have an NFL presence in the coaching staff. Nolan Turner, Mr. Arm Brace himself, has been hired as the safeties coach.
Some NFL experience.
Some NFL experience for a team that's down south that sucks. Maybe Tampa Bay. I can't remember what they're called. The Succaneers. No, I'm just kidding. They're a lot better than the Panthers. Somehow we made it to the playoffs and they didn't. But I digress. Knee jerk. I don't know Nolan Turner. Anytime you have to open up with that, is usually not a good follow-up. I'm not a fan of that.
It's funny when you say it. The way I like to say it is that you fired Mickey Conn for a player that was coached by Mickey Conn.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I just don't, you know what I mean? I'm sure Nolan Turner has, other coaches in his life and obviously got a little bit of experience in the NFL and learning things. And he was more of a coach on the field as a player. I mean, he was a super smart kid.
Yeah.
But as far as a coach, no coaching experience. Really, he was on staff last year and saw him on the sidelines giving out the defensive signals and stuff like that. But to put him in charge of a safety room that needs much needed, what's the right word? Jolt of talent, whatever you want to call it, jolt of talent, jolt of experience. It's kind of a disappointing hire.
The only silver lining, I'm going to find this silver lining. Tom Allen has become the head coach of the defense, essentially. I can't remember if those words were used verbatim or if that's just, what's kind of been how it's been described. He would have had to sign off on this hire.
Yeah.
He must be okay with it enough. So maybe, again, I don't know Nolan Turner. He could have wowed everybody with his intellect. I don't care how smart you are, you got to be able to talk. Maybe he can talk. Maybe he's already gotten their respect. I don't know. Jerome Carter and why am I forgetting the other cat's name?
Corey Myrick.
Corey Myrick. Definitely met with him to jump in the transfer portal and come here. They had to have known that was going to be the move. So I will play neutral for now. Rico Wright, I'm not mad about that. He's got he's got experience elsewhere. He went to Furman. He went to Delaware. I believe he was also at Jacksonville State. I liked Rico Wright. He was a GA when I was there. I thought he was very hardworking, a good coach, really good with the guys. He's got a good personality. So I'm definitely pulling for Rico Wright. Again, that's the difference between him and Nolan Turner. I know Rico. I think he can do well.
And got to cut his teeth. Got to cut his teeth somewhere else.
Yeah, and that makes you feel good. Like he went somewhere else and then he came home.
Right.
I'm okay with that. I'm cool with it. And Dabo does listen to us to figure out what he should do with his staff. Jacoby Ford hired as the speed development coach. So he's going to be with what's his not Dennis Love. What is our strength and conditioning coach's name?
It's Dennis Love.
It's Dennis Love. Okay. What's the guy's name that coached for the Cardinals? We talking about playoffs? No, it wasn't him. You played him in the game. You played him in the game. Was it Dennis Green or? I started to think I was saying his name instead. Dennis Love. He'll be on Dennis Love's staff. To put that in perspective, Coach Greenlee was on Coach Batson's staff, and he was speed development coach. So Jacoby Ford will be stepping into that role. Jacoby Ford, little known fact, very fast.
Yeah.
So can he teach speed? We will find out. That'd be a good Twitter handle. Can I teach speed? Artavis Scott was not hired as a offensive line assistant coach, believe it or not. The former wide receiver,
which was hilarious. I don't know what kind of clerical error that was, but man.
Yeah, it was a clerical error, all right. He was hired as a player development coach. He'll be supporting the running backs, but a player development coach. What that means, I don't know. It's a very broad term. That probably means they're going to do a hell of a lot of stuff, between making coffees to making sure these guys can develop into the program, culture-wise, learn how to go to school, learn how to watch film, all those things. Artavis Scott, that's a great personality. He is a locker room guy. Hope he does well. Another one that's coming from another school, and I believe it wasn't just Howard. I think he also coached somewhere else.
I don't know. Howard was the most recent for sure.
It might have been a high school.
But you know this. I mean, the most time you spend is with your position coach. So I'm sure like Artavis Scott will be just a guy that they spend a lot of time with as far as the running backs go. So
yeah. So
I don't think it's that significant of a hire either way. I mean, you're not
resume
hiring
builder for him. And, a chance to come learn. Maybe he could. So brought over CJ Wesley. Maybe that was the package deal.
That's right.
Get a defensive end out of it. I think that's all the news. I thought this was going to be a quiet offseason. I'm not used to transfer portal. I'm not used to it. So much stuff has been happening. I'm not having any kids anytime soon. Are you having any more kids anytime soon?
No.
All right, we should be good for a while to keep coming out with these. We're going to continue with our high school film review. Dustin, am I missing anything? I feel like I'm missing something.
How do you feel about the schedule? Schedule got released.
The schedule got released. How did we miss that? How do I feel about the schedule? Well, I love that we're playing Georgia Tech and Duke right before South Carolina. It's really great to not get a get right game before them. I don't know. In this day and age, you really don't know who you're playing until the ball kicks off in August.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway. I looked like last year's. You look down the schedule, you're like, man, Clemson's playing a ton of really good quarterbacks, and then like you look at the schedule this year, and you're like, not that many on there. You know, you have Leavitt at LSU, Mensa at Miami. You got obviously Lenore Sellers at South Carolina. But other than that, man, like not a whole ton of.
You forgot Ashton Daniels at Florida State.
Yeah, you know he'll be okay. But I'm just saying, there's not a whole lot of guys that I look at that schedule and I'm super worried about from a quarterback perspective.
Cal's quarterback. It's a long name.
JKS. Yes, I forgot about him. You have to go. We have to go to Cal on a Friday, and that is the one group of Twitter people I do not want any beef with. Like
the Calgorithm is real.
Yeah,
you think Ole Miss is bad? They've called me everything, but the name the Lord gave me, the Calgorithm will go further than that.
Right, I will not mess with them that week.
Yeah. Good thing we have a bye week before Charleston Southern.
Yeah.
Get to prepare for them for 2 weeks. We get to play James Franklin at Virginia Tech. That's going to be fun.
Good home slate. I mean, you got Miami at home. You got Virginia Tech at home. Yeah, it's good. South Carolina
at home. That means we're going to lose. The home team loses in this series right now. That's the trend. We're going to learn a lot about our program September 19th against North Carolina. I think that's going to be our measuring tape game. I don't know what to think about LSU yet.
What do you mean you don't know what to think about LSU?
I don't know what to think about LSU. I don't.
Oh man, that's got us getting run out of town all over it.
Right, but I don't want to say that, so I don't know what to think. I'm not going to think. I cannot allow my brain to think that way, Dustin.
Okay, I'm very happy that Clemson got in the portal and got some good players, right?
If we had Luke Ferrelli, are we winning that game?
No.
Yeah, we are.
LSU and Clemson are playing a different sport when it comes to talent acquisition. Entirely different sport.
Would you rather have Sam Leavitt or Chris Vizina?
I would rather have Sam Leavitt, man.
No, that's not true. LSU literally got 3 quarterbacks in the portal.
Yeah.
They got a former 5-star, Hudson Longstreet, out of USC. They got the cat out of Elon. And then they got Sam Leavitt and paid him $94 million.
And if it goes like Ole Miss, the kid from Elon's going to be electric, and he's going to be in New York next year, just like Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, that's the one we got to worry about.
Yeah. So the schedule looks fun. We got LSU, Georgia Southern, North Carolina, Cal, Miami, bye week. Good thing we had the bye week after Miami, and not anyway. At least we get an extra day after traveling to Cal. Charleston Southern, Virginia Tech, Florida State, at Syracuse on a Friday or a Saturday. Georgia Tech, which they could be feisty. They got Alberto Mendoza, at Duke, and then versus South Carolina. I don't know what to think yet.
Yeah, me neither, man. I'm not going to put any out predictions of what we're going to do on the schedule. There's way too many variables right now.
You have to make a prediction. We have
right now.
Yeah, we have to.
What did we go this year? 7-6.
7-6. Whatever you say, I'm adding 2 to it.
We're going 5-7. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. I mean, I do feel like 6-6, 7-5, somewhere around there.
So, all right, let's be real.
Okay.
LSU and Miami are going to be very, very difficult. I will never say we cannot win. You will not hear that coming out of my mouth. LSU and Miami will be very difficult. Let's call those losses. That's the furthest I'll go. Georgia Southern, we better win that damn game. Charleston Southern, we better win that game. There's 2 wins. Those are the only guarantees in this world. They're not even that guaranteed. North Carolina, I couldn't even tell you who their quarterback is right now. I'm so out of tune what North Carolina's doing. We did get their OC, though. Cal is going to be tough, but
It's just a weird spot.
it's a very weird spot. Clemson does very poorly on the road on a Friday night.
Cross country.
Let's go Virginia Tech. Don't know what Virginia Tech's going to be.
They're going to be good. Yeah.
I think they're going to be good. Florida State. I think Florida State's going to be better than people think. I like Action Daniels. We've talked about that a little bit. So that's going to be a tough game. Syracuse, have no clue. That is the biggest roller coaster of a program I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, wild.
And we lost to them last year, so who knows? Georgia Tech, winnable.
Yeah, I mean, what does it look like without Buster Faulkner? You know, I feel like that team has a very clear identity. Yeah, but how does that identity change without those guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Duke, don't know. Don't know who Duke is.
Who's their quarterback now?
Exactly. Don't know. Couldn't tell you. It ain't CJ Morris over in NC State, who's picking up all of Miami's players. And then South Carolina, very winnable. Duke's very winnable. Georgia Tech's very winnable. Syracuse is very winnable. Florida State could be winnable. I'm going 8-4.
All right.
It's 8-4. I'm leaving.
Maybe.
Oh, we about to get off this episode with you escaping. Dustin, I need you to tell the people to their face, look them in the eye, and tell them that you think domes are better for football.
All right, you really want to have this conversation?
We really need to have this conversation.
Dude, okay. I'm just going to say it, Will. And this is not an attack on you. I'm not trying to say this is not personal by any means.
I'm going to take it personally.
But saying that you enjoy watching snow games is entirely performative because you don't. You don't like watching snow games. You don't like watching teams punt back and forth to each other. You don't like watching teams play 17, 18 games to lead up to a snow fest where they're tripping behind the line of scrimmage. That's not a sport. It's not what we do. It's just not. It's not conducive to punching your ticket to the Super Bowl. It's crazy.
I'll raise you a snow game because I do thoroughly enjoy snow games, so you can watch your mouth. And I will give you a rain game. I hate rain games, and I hate delays. Domes would eliminate delays, so I will side with you on that. And I hate rain games because I think where snow games, you get goofiness in snow games. Rain games just look nasty. They only run the ball. It just looks stupid. Snow games, I don't care that they're just running the ball. That's old school football. Snow games is what I've always dreamed to play, and I never got to play in a snow game. So I see that little William comes back out, and I get to experience that. So I will never slander a snow game. But water games, lightning delays. Trust me, I hate lightning delays, especially as a Clemson fan. Those are all for the birds. I can side with you on that. But the times that you can play in the heat are just beautiful. The times you can play in the heat. When you're playing in Ohio State and a team from the South comes up and they try to go out there and intimidate Ohio State by warming up with their shirts off, and then they go out there and get beat 49-0. Wasn't really that, but Tennessee got gobsmacked. That's cool to me. I love that. Snow games are still cool, though.
I don't think so, man. I just don't. I get people like the nostalgia of it, or like they can point to this like classic game that was played in the snow, and it came down to like one final play. Like that's all good and well, but like we watched a snow game, and then we watched the Seahawks play the Rams. Which isn't in the dome, but like you couldn't pick two worse games to put back to back. Like the Seahawks Rams was incredible. I'm just of the general belief that anything that cuts your playbook in half is bad for the game.
I hear you.
And so then you have the Broncos with a backup quarterback in the snow. Like it's just like it's not fun to watch. Like it's just I'm sitting there in the hospital with a freshly born newborn with my wife, and I'm sitting there just watching the game. I got nothing else to do, and I'm bored because they're just punting and fumbling.
You're speaking out of emotion, so we can go ahead and just throw your opinion out in the trash because you weren't thinking logically at that time. You had hormones and pheromones and all the other moans going out of your body because you just experienced a life-changing event. So we'll give you some grace. I will say, the extremity in which people attack people for saying that all football games should be played in a dome, that's performative. I will agree with you on that. If I want to play devil's advocate, the Patriots and the Broncos, I don't know if that game would have been much different
No, and that's why, whenever you said let's go to war, I was like, well, let me pull up the drive chart, and I'm going through the first half, and I'm like, oh, the first half drive chart's disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, there was no snow then.
And it didn't snow until the second half, so I'm like, this is a horrible example.
That game was going to be garbage.
Yes,
regardless.
100%.
But
I 1,000% agree. But like, it was just bad, man. Like,
playoff football maybe should be different. Maybe I'll give you that.
But it's just one of those things. Like, and teams are moving to domes. Like, do you think Minnesota wants the advantage of snow games? Of course they do. But they moved to a dome, right? Buffalo's going to move to a retractable dome or whatever, and Cleveland's going to move to one. Like, they're just going to start building more domes, man. And I'm telling you, like,
Cleveland will not move to a dome. They're going to mess that up.
They will. They'll fumble it somehow. But I'm just telling you, people were coming at me like it was a gambling perspective. Like, oh, I hate you sports gamblers that just want to play the games in domes. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with gambling. I just want to watch good quarterback play.
Watchability.
Yeah, I want to see good quarterback play. And it's impossible to have good quarterback play in the snow.
You just don't like the old school football.
Build more domes.
So you know what? You know who would not like a dome? My king, Chad Morris, who said he's going to run 2-back sets, play action. You know, if you have good running backs, you don't have a good quarterback. You don't get to see good quarterback play when you're handing the ball off. Actually,
did Chad Morris get you fired up, man?
Chad Morris got me fired up. I'm not going to lie to you. Hearing him say we're going to go 2-back sets, we're going to go a lot of play actions, and we're going to take shots. And he said, we're not taking 4 shots a quarter. We got to study it, and we got to fix it.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Will? You know what, Will? I'm going to say now that I'm going to do all my chores around the house this week. My wife's not going to have to tell me. We're going to chart it. We're going to try and find a way to figure it out. I'm going to do all my chores without my wife having asked me to do things twice. Haven't asked me to do it the right way. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do all my chores, and we'll see how that goes.
You know, you live in a dome and you still have to do chores.
I'm just saying it on a podium is awesome. Like, hey, yeah, we're going to take 3 shots a quarter. Like, that's great, man. But like, until I see it, until he's out in the elements, until they trust Christopher Vezina with the ball in his hands to throw the ball down the field 3 times a quarter, I will not believe it.
I trust my king, Chad Morris. I trust him. You know what's going to be awesome? If you get so you're in high school, you're a little nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Not you, but you.
I experienced that. Yeah, I guess.
Hypothetically. And you're just getting this bully coming in, he just wants to fight you, right? He's about to just tear you from limb to limb in the bathroom. You're not shadow boxing anymore, right? And you come out and you just throw some haymakers. You still get your ass beat, but you threw some haymakers. And you landed a couple. You know what that bully's not going to do? He's not going to mess with you the same. That boy didn't like getting hit. So Chad Morris, with us taking shots down the field, we're going to throw some haymakers.
Yeah.
We're going to find out if we're the bully or if we're the little nerdy kid.
You know, I got a take that I'm working on about that relates to
your takes.
It's about Christopher Vezina and Fernando Mendoza. Just a little take.
Oh, I love this. Okay, I'm dialed in.
So, what is Fernando Mendoza? What did Indiana do better than pretty much every offense this year? Is the back shoulder throw. And they did it in a way that was almost borderline unguardable, and they wanted their receivers to go up and make competitive plays, right?
Talk to me.
What is Vezina's best throws? It's his back shoulder. It's the back shoulder competitive plays, and we have the wide receivers to make those plays. That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not saying Vezina is Fernando Mendoza. I'm just saying that translates.
You cannot sit here and compare my king Chad Morris talking about taking shots to you doing chores for your wife, which you're a great husband. I know you're going to do it. And then turn and say that our other king, we're an oligarchy, our other king is great at back shoulder throws and is essentially Fernando Mendoza. Which one? Are you bought into Chad Morris? Are you Red Bulled up?
I'm bought into this wide receiver room. This pass catchers, like, look at our tight ends. Look at our tight ends, man. I'm not yet. I'm not yet. I need to get there.
You're going to be, because you know what you need to do when you're doing your chores without your wife asking the first time. You're going to listen to this episode.
It's every offseason. We get so far away from actually watching Clemson play football that we just start to believe and we start to hope. It's like the best thing college football does is just like that hope just starts to creep in, and then it'll be August and we're about to kick off at LSU, and I'm like, you know what, Will, we're winning.
Oh, I'm gonna be the same way. And
it happens every year, man.
this podcast ended 20 minutes ago. There was 23 minutes when I said, "Hey, let's wrap this up. You have anything else?" And then we just went on and argued about some stuff.
Yeah. January, by the way. January.
It's January, and we're scoring 1,000 points a game next year, and we're taking it to LSU. I'm not going to say anything else.
Vizina's winning the Heisman, man. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's essentially what you said. You compared him to a Heisman winner after telling me I need to cool my jets on Chad Morris.
I said it was a take I was working on. I'm not ready to, publicize the take. But
you just publicized it.
I guess it's public. Yeah.
This is a national sports podcast.
Yeah.
That actually does it for this episode. You can follow Dustin at DustinB492.
You're so close, man. 429.
The day I get that right the first try, we might just need to end the show.
Shit, man. Yours is so easy to remember, the at walk-on moves. And, you got made fun of for being a walk-on when it's in your Twitter handle.
Yeah, did you know that?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, as many jokes as you can make about you being a walk-on, and then people still try and make fun of you for being a walk-on. It's awesome.
I got made fun of for being a walk-on by a guy with a squirrel as his Twitter profile picture. A squirrel in a Trinidad Chambliss jersey. Yeah. I'm like, what are we doing here? Actually, I might just
be Waterboy Dustin. Walk-on moves and Waterboy Dustin.
No, we got. I like Waterboy Dustin. That's kind of good. Make Bobby Boucher. We'll do it AI.
Yeah, there you go.
And Bobby Boucher. Anyway, Dustin B429 on the Twitters. Go follow him. I'm at Walk On Moose. This is William Cockrell. That's Dustin Black. This is Inside the Valley. We'll see you in the next one.